All right. This is just a follow-up. Students have requested that we follow up. We had a good turnout, but there were a lot of students who weren't able to make the meeting that we had. And this is really about a personal statement for students applying to graduate school. And this was held on November 14th of this month here at the Black Resource Center. So I had some time to make a follow-up video. So let's get into it. So some of the topics we talked about were the elements of style, which is a book. SDSU has its own recommendations for personal statements and essays, particularly for getting into graduate school. There were some generally good ideas from authors that were happening online. You know how the algorithm works. Once you say something, even your phone picks it up. So I got a lot of social media traffic that was directing me towards authors who were talking about their experiences writing for graduate school and getting into graduate school. And then we will share ideas from current graduate students. Now that's as far as I can go because you weren't able to be here for the event, but we're still here at the Black Resource Center and open to help you and also direct you towards resources here on campus or elsewhere. All right, so on writing in general, let's get into some quotes here. Say what you're going to say it, and say it again. And I put in parentheses a couple ideas. Say it with detail and say it again in summary, right? So say what you're going to say it with detail, and say it again in summary. See what I did there? All right, next. An effective personal statement will answer the following questions. Who am I? Who do I want to be? What kind of contribution do I want to make and how? And why does it make sense for me to study at Oxford or York or Cambridge or San Diego State or UCLA or USC or Oakwood or Howard or FAMU or wherever else you're trying to get into for graduate school? All right, so Elements of Style is a book by Strunk and White that's had several different editions, and the latest being 2020, but the earliest that I found was in 1979. And there are online versions available through our SDSU library, but I'm sure you can find them elsewhere on the internet. But what it's really helpful with is grammar, punctuation, and common spelling errors that people have, right? So now, here's another thing that I saw when people are writing about elements of style and grammar and other things. You do not need to know APA or Chicago style to get into graduate school, but general grammar and spelling and all those other things, punctuation, is extremely important in order for you to get into graduate school. So yeah, SDSU has a page and I quoted it directly, creating your personal statement for grad school and or scholarships. And it's available online and I wanted to share this with you, but I took some of it and kind of condensed it a bit, but let's get into it. So you got to paint a picture, right? With words, that is. So your personal essay should produce a picture of you as a person, a student, a potential scholarship winner, if that's might even be a part of both. Sometimes personal statements and scholarships are combined, right? Now, next, it should be an invitation. The reader must be invited to get to know you personally. So bridge the assumed distance between those strangers and make your reader feel welcome. Not awkward, not uncomfortable, but welcome. And really, you're making them feel welcome. And this wasn't necessarily on there, but you're adding things that are germane to what they're doing with their graduate school program, not necessarily all your personal business. All right, next, an indication of your priorities and judgment. What you choose to say in your statement tells the committee what your priorities are. What you say and how you say it is crucial, so be authentic, right? Again, there's a balance between being authentic and oversharing, so you want to make it relevant, right? A story, or more precisely, your story. Everyone has a story to tell, but we are not all natural storytellers. If you're like most people, your life lacks inherent drama, particularly if you just want to go to graduate school and just want to do your thing, right? You stayed out of a lot of mess, right? And now you're focused in on serious self-reflection, conversations with friends, family, and mentors, and permission to be creative. Those things can come in handy. And maybe it's all right to go ahead and tell your story or your narrative about why you want to go to graduate school as you talk with those family and friends. Over the Thanksgiving holiday may be a good time to do that as well. Remember, this is not an academic paper. This isn't a journal entry where you're just logging things in. It's not a narrative resume where you just review your resume. And if you're doing a scholarship or asking for a grant, you're not necessarily pleading for money, right? What it is a picture, an indication of your priorities and judgments. And I can't say this enough, and I'll say it again and again. It's a story, it's a story, it's a story. Tell that story that fits with where that graduate school program is going. All right. So here's some generally good ideas that I saw on social media. And then I'll share some of my own. But these two I really liked. Paragraphs in academic writing transition from broad and general ideas to specific examples and back again. So like two U's tip towards each other. Each paragraph should start with the general idea and context, explain what it will be about and how it relates to the rest of the circle. So that's from Lynette Knack, who I saw on Twitter. This person I saw on Instagram, the first thing, Dr. Danielle Ward, who is a medical doctor. But the first thing I would say is if you have a low GPA or MCAT score, then absolutely discuss it. While I did not specifically mention any of my low scores, I did bring up the fact that I encountered many obstacles that at times prevented me from doing my best. Somewhere in your personal statement, your transcripts, and maybe your test scores, there may be room for you to explain some challenges, but I would say focus on the overcoming story as well, how you overcame and how you finished strong. This last piece. And as someone who read over 500 applications of students applying to graduate school in my 10 years when I worked at Cal State Long Beach as a graduate instructor, I saw that people forgot to indicate that they actually did research on the actual profession and program as it relates to the grad school path. They just kind of heard about the profession. They were mildly interested in the school or had demonstrated no awareness of the school. By the time you're writing your personal essay, at least, and this is the beauty of the internet. I didn't have the internet when I was applying to graduate school back in the day, but these are same strong principles are still available then. I did have ways to write letters, make phone calls, learn about the institution that I was applying to, and definitely learn about the field that I wanted to go into. All right. So a couple of our great graduate students, particularly Grace Fox Tappan, she's a brilliant graduate student in our higher ed program. She gave these tips. And she is also a lecturer here on campus as well. Brilliant, brilliant person. Make sure to align your statements with the mission and vision statement for your school, department, and or program, going off of what I just said on the last slide. This is a great time to get ahead of any weak points in your resume, transcript, low grades, gaps, etc. Let them know what you learned from that experience and highlight your upwards trajectory. We're getting it from two people, right? We got it from our medical doctor and we have it from our master's student who's currently at San Diego State saying the same thing to you. Again, highlight specific events. Boom, there it is. Stories that showcases one of your strengths. For example, writing about a project for class where you gave a presentation to demonstrate public speaking skills or spearheading a club event or show leadership. Bam, hit those stories, right? Do the research. Let them know your story of overcoming any challenges, and then tell them about how you get things done, right? So you'll be able to move into the profession already with good momentum. Okay, just want to do a little commercial here for our Writing Center. The Graduate Student Writing Center offers virtual one-on-one appointments with qualified writing consultants. And that Writing Center is supported within our division from the Office of Graduate Life and Diversity. They have so many things that they're able to help with. They're open Mondays through Thursday from 10 to 7 and Fridays from 10 to 6, but time management, right? And creating a productivity system, introduction to graduate research papers, developing research questions, creating writing plans, literature reviews, the APA paper, weekend dissertation boot camp, all types of things that are there to help you. And most universities have those things as you're applying. But I would also say, take a look at those things as you're applying to graduate school, that you're looking forward to taking advantage of these support services, right? San Diego State, we have them. I'm encouraging you to apply to at least one graduate school program at San Diego State, if not another CSU, but definitely apply to graduate school. Right. Any questions or comments, you can put those below this video, and I hope to hear from you, or come by the BRC and talk with us, and we'll be more than happy to talk you through your application for graduate school. All right. Thanks for joining, and look forward to hearing from you. Bye.